Wanted to make a quick video here, a list video here. My top 10 MCU movies of all time. These are my top 10 favorite movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this would include any film from the universe, obviously. How many are there? 24, 25 now? I could be wrong on that. But yeah, it's my 10 favorite movies from the universe, from order 10 to 1. Obviously, 1 being the best, my favorite. This was a really tough list to make. I just wanted to come on here and do it just because Eternals just came out. I know we're still waiting on Spider-Man to come out next month. And obviously, there's going to be more Marvel movies coming out as the years come. But as of right now, these are my 10 favorite that I can say. These 10 really blew me away, either in a way of entertainment or just they did something different in the Marvel universe. And yeah, I mean, just jump right into it. At number 10, you have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I think around this time, Marvel was already, they had established their main core of characters already. And you were kind of wondering, who else can they bring in? At this time, Spider-Man was still part of Sony, and well, they still are, but he still is. But they couldn't do that crossover. Obviously, X-Men has their thing they're doing. So you're kind of wondering, who else can they bring in? And this is when they really started going down as far as the list of heroes, and they came out with Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of us were kind of worried, whether is this going to be good? Many people didn't know, unless you're a real comic book fan, you didn't really know who they were. And yeah, when I saw this movie, it was funny. It brought humor to another level. I felt like it had a great action. It really took you into another place where I felt like you really can see where Marvel can take you, where this universe was going and the expansion of it. Yeah, it was just a fun movie, man. Everything about it to this day. I mean, even now, a lot of the things that kicked off, I go we say phase 2 and 3 was because of Guardians of the Galaxy. When you look at the importance of that movie, man, it really does. It really brings back just that thought of like, wow, this movie was awesome. At number 9, Black Panther. I think I loved it more initially when I saw it, maybe because at the time it was such a big event. You know what I mean? It was such a moment, and at the time for this movie to come out, so much was going on in the world, and I think this movie was needed in a sense, especially for particularly that culture. And yeah, man, it was a fun movie to watch. It was definitely very different from what we've seen as far as Marvel heroes. And Chadwick Boseman did Black Panther, the character, just an amazing job. I thought Ryan Coogler as the director, he continued to just blow people away, and I was really happy for him, especially for a guy who was from Oakland, representing the Bay Area. Doing movies like that. And then obviously, I think it also presented us with one of the greatest villains that the MCU have had up to now, and Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. I thought he did an excellent job. I mean, you kind of understood what he was trying to sell to you. You know what I mean? And I think a good villain is needed to make a great movie. And I think Black Panther was definitely that. Coming in at number 8, I was switching back and forth between this and Black Panther, but I think this one just kind of hit a little different for me. SpiderMan Homecoming, the first movie with obviously with the new Spider-Man. It was finally bringing Spider-Man into the MCU, and yeah, man, I thought it was fun. It was a Spider-Man movie. It was a Spider-Man movie. I think many of us were hoping for those of us who saw the cartoons or even the comic books, reading some of the comic books, you really felt like this was the one. And the way Tom Holland plays Spider-Man, not only just Spider-Man, but even Peter Parker, I feel like he captured him so well. The back and forth between him and Tony Stark, it was just such a fun movie. And I'm not sure if it's even talked about too much anymore right now in the MCU, which is weird. I think when you think of Spider-Man, I think many people still look back to the original trilogy, which I love Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 to me is still probably the best Spider-Man movie as far as all Spider-Man movies. But yeah, no, Homecoming was a great movie. I'm looking forward to the new one. We'll see what they do with that. Coming in at number 7, the first Avengers, not first Avenger, Avengers. Yeah, I mean the first time we get to see all these heroes on screen together, it was such a big moment, man. It was such a fun. I feel like this, even though obviously there's better movies that come out later. This time of I remember being in a movie theater. I feel like this was such a fun time of being a movie fan, a comic book hero fan, because it was so fresh. Everything was still kind of at its peak. Seeing this movie on screen in the theater, you're going with your friends or whatever, it was just a fun time. Especially that legendary picture of when the camera's just rounding out the heroes. Yeah, I mean you can't knock on the original Avengers. This movie was fun. It still is. It still holds up to this day. Yeah, fun movie. At number 6, Iron Man, the one that started it all. I could still watch this movie and have a fun time. It's such a good movie. Robert Downey Jr. really knocked it out of the park with this. He is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man when we see him now. Whatever else he does from this point on, I mean, you see Tony Stark. There's no one else that will ever take his place. This movie was just amazing when it kicked off. Everything that it was trying to do. I remember watching it, even thinking about it now. When we first watched it, man, who would have known what not only his character would have become, but what universe and how all this was being just from the moment that movie started, how it was slowly taking form into what they were trying to do and the plans that they had. It really was the thing that started it all. And to this day, I still think it holds up as being one of the best MCU movies. At number 5, Captain America: Civil War. This is another movie that has all the heroes together. Not all of them. I mean, you were missing Thor, you're missing Hulk, you're missing a couple other people. But this movie was, I think for me, it was the first time you get to see your heroes, I guess, really in a conflict. Other than just themselves, other than just, their enemies. It was the first time we see, Spider-Man, Black Panther. They're introducing those characters. You have Ant-Man in there. It was a fun movie, and then arguably this has one of the best action sequences in the airport scene. I remember seeing that scene in theaters and thinking this is the best action sequence Marvel has done. And at the time, it was true. I think, obviously, now more movies have come out since then that have created better. But yeah, that movie was awesome. Civil War to me, just that conflict between Captain America and Iron Man. It was so interesting to see, as well with Bucky and just that storyline that they had. It was carrying obviously from Winter Soldier. It was such a good movie. I love that movie. I recently saw it again, and it holds up. At number 4, I hope this isn't just because we just saw it this year, and I hope, I've seen it twice. I love this movie. ShangChi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. This movie is just incredible. And I think partially it is because it introduced something different to the MCU, and that is martial arts. I grew up on martial art movies, just watching with my dad. Watching old Jackie Chan movies, Bruce Lee movies. I remember just being a kid wanting to fight like that. Obviously, as a little kid, you think you could do all that. And watching this movie, it just reminded me of a Jackie Chan movie. I know some of the stunt people that worked with Jackie Chan worked on this movie, and you can tell, especially that bus scene, man, where he's using anything he can find just as a weapon, and that's something Jackie would do. This movie was beautiful to look at. Yes, it had the Marvel formula with the huge CGI fight towards the end, but I still think it was a spectacle. It really was. And in a time right now where Marvel, I feel like maybe for some people it was starting to kind of dry out a little bit. Yes, it had its TV series. Those TV series were cool. A lot of them didn't land. Didn't land it right as well as I think they could have. But for me, definitely, I just wanted something fresh. I wanted something different, something exciting, and I feel like this one really brought that. As an origin story, as an action, it brought the comedy where I feel like it wasn't too much. I love this movie, and it's easily one of the best movies of the year that I've seen. ShangChi, yeah. Here we are now, top three. This is where it gets a little tough because, I mean, if you're following along, you kind of know what's left. But at number three is Captain America: Winter Soldier. This movie was at the time. I remember watching and walking away. You kind of almost forgot it was a Marvel movie. Yes, you have your characters, your heroes in there. Captain America. You have Bucky, the story with her with the Black Widow. All these things. But it was such a great action spy movie. One that you hadn't seen in a while like that. It was such a fun movie. It was very dark. It had moments of just intense, and you really felt invested in this movie. This was, to me, the movie that really set a tone as far as what the Russo brothers were trying to do, as far as with the Avengers later on. It's a great movie. It's one of the best. It's a top three for me. It really is. It's one of the best action movies I've seen. It has some of the best hand-to-hand combat movie action sequences to me out of all the Avengers, out of all the MCU movies. That movie, if you go back and watch some of those action sequences, I'm telling you, it's pretty remarkable what they did with that movie. I love that movie. Definitely one of the best. At number two, you really can't switch these around. Obviously, I think you guys already know what's here. But number two for me is going to be Endgame, Avengers Endgame. Yes, it has probably one of the greatest movie scenes of all time, one of the greatest in-theater experiences of all time with that Avengers Assemble scene when everyone comes back. It brought a tear to my eye. It really did. It's a movie that I've seen over and over and over again. It really was 10 years finally ending in such a satisfying way. It's one of the best movies I've seen. It's a favorite of mine. It really was just a great movie. I remember just thinking about it. It's one of those movies where I remember watching it. We took the whole family to go watch it. Like, everyone was there. My parents were there. I remember just because it really deserved that type of hype. It really deserved that, I guess, that respect. It capped off a great 10-year run of Marvel movies. I don't think much can ever be. I don't think anything will ever match up to that, and I don't think we'll ever experience something like that again. If there is, it'll be tough to really compete. But it's a movie that I definitely I wish I can go back and relive those moments again. But at number one, I feel is a better movie overall. Yes, Endgame had the moments it had, but I feel like as a movie overall, a cohesive and just such a hit after hit after hit movie moments in the movie was Infinity War. It was the first time we got to see everybody together, all these characters. You got to see Peter Quill with Tony Stark and Doctor Strange and their dynamics that all these characters brought. Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy. You got to see so many great things in this movie. That's why I believe this is the best one, because it is your comic book dream, your cartoons on screen for the first time. And it was just an amazing movie. And to me, it was Thanos' story in this movie. It was his movie. It was seeing what kind of a villain he was. And again, this is what I mean when you need a great villain in order for the movie to be so compelling and for you to root for the heroes that you want to win. And to me, this movie just did it amazingly. It is my favorite Infinity War. It's funny. I still go back and watch this movie again over and over and over again. Sure, Endgame has that scene that just it blows people away, and I go on YouTube every now and then to watch reactions to that scene because it's beautiful to watch. But Infinity War is just, it's also a dark movie. Same with Endgame. Endgame is very dark as well. Very much of the first and second act is very dark. But Infinity War, you could tell there was just, they were trying so hard to fight Thanos, and it got darker and darker and darker. It was, in a sense, MCU's Empire Strikes Back, right? I'm kind of a newer Star Wars fan, but watching Empire Strikes Back and how that movie ended, it really just brought me to this to how Infinity War ended, and just a hopelessness feeling, right? I mean, our heroes lost, and that's how Star Wars, that's how that movie ended. And to see how our heroes lost, not only did our heroes lost, but we lost a lot of people in the process. Obviously, many of them came back later on, but it just felt like your people that you knew just lost a fight. It was unbelievable. So, I mean, yeah, that's my top 10 MCU movies. If you disagree, again, let me know. If my opinion sucks, let me know. I think this is a cool list to make. I think many people will have different lists. I know many might have Age of Ultron in there. Maybe Black Panther for many people is a top 5. Iron Man for sure. I think for many people, I think that's one of their favorite movies. Many people might have Endgame as number 1. Man, you also have Thor Ragnarok out there as a fun movie. Yeah, you have so many movies out there that are in this universe that are great. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, wherever you guys can find me. I'm there. I'm still reviewing movies. I'm going to come out with more lists because this is pretty fun. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. See ya.